Basically just pulling the note, the finger across. That's the whole raking technique. This finger is just pulling off 1, 2, 3, 4, and then pull off the last one. In the minor position, I'm using this finger to bar instead of in the major. It's this finger. In the minor, similar thing, but a different set of fingers doing different things. So it's a good to exercise in both. Same principles at work. Oops, I made a mistake there. Happens to the best of us. Anyway, that's the major position. Minor. So you see, economy of motion, I'm not flying around a lot to get that arpeggio. Basically, I just lock my hand in one spot. And the notes should roll out pretty easy. So give that a try. Again, apply the same principles. If you have a problem with this lick, pull it apart component by component. If this is a rough move for you, practice that. If that isn't working, practice just that. That's another move. You can practice that on its own. So pull it apart piece by piece, and you should have it. One other thing I'm asked about a lot is on vibrato that I do sometimes, I'll be bending the neck of the bass, and people ask me about that. How do I do it, and what's it for, and everything. I actually got it originally from Pete Townsend, I think, from The Who. When he would hit a big chord and just shake the neck. Then I realized that I could, if I pushed against the bass with the strap on, it actually ended up bend the neck a little bit. Now this here is a stock production model Yamaha Attitude bass. This isn't a special one or a custom shop one at all. There's some extra things added to it. Basically, it's a production model. There's 2 bolts in the back here. To hold the neck in, there's actually 2 more bolts underneath here from the front, so it's a real solid neck to body joint. On my old P bass, it worked fine as well. Sometimes it would drift out a little bit, but on almost any bass I've picked up, you can bend the neck. I have heard rumors of people snapping their basses in half, so you got to be careful as far as how much actual pressure you can exert on it to do that. This bass, the body joins the neck at a very high spot, so there's a lot of neck to bend. So it makes it a little bit easier. I can actually bend the note. On a 5-string bass, your low note would be a B, so I can actually take a B note, drop my low E down to a D, and bend it to a B, so I can actually get a low B out of this bass. There's an actual... So in an emergency, if I needed to hit a B note, I could actually do it on this bass. You couldn't necessarily be playing along at the same time. But that's one of the a thing you can do on any bass and any guitar, but the things that will prevent you from doing it is having your bass, the strap connection to your bass. For me, mine is permanently connected. I get stove bolts and fender washers and put a grommet on this piece of material that is from a company called Buffalo Belt and Weaving. I don't know if they're in business anymore, but they used to make the belts that caught the F-14s that landed on the aircraft carriers. This isn't one of them, but that's how strong their belts are. And this is solid, and it won't bend, and it won't stretch, and it won't move. So when I push against it, it'll never come off. It won't come off from here. It's bolted in both spots. When the bass gets put away, the strap stays on it. Just because I'm pretty rough with my bass when I play live, and I like to have that solid anchor that the bass is always there, always landing right there on that spot of my body and not moving around. Night to night, it's in the same position every night. So if something's wrong, I know it's me and not the bass and not the strap. So that's one of the reasons why I bolt that strap on, and it's helped me when it comes time to do things like to do a little neck bending thing. It's helped to make that happen as well. So that's the story of my strap. So tapping on the bass, tapping, hammer-on pull-offs, they're sometimes they fall in favor and out of fashion and into fashion again here and there, but I'll just show you some basics on it so you can decide for yourself whether or not it's something you might want to do. If you know how to do it really strong and solidly, it will they'll probably end up in much better favor than if you just do them the lightweight way, because it really requires on a bass that you use a lot of strength. Guitar's got thin little strings and you can fly all over the neck with it, but on bass you really need to play it as though you were a bass player, and you're not a guitar player, you're a bass player, so it requires a lot more strength and a whole different approach to it. What I do basically is it's kind of the Addicted to That Rush lick a little bit. Now you see how I have this one finger on top of the other one? I have my thumb, my hand locked in there. Usually I have my thumb locked, or just make sure that my hands are solidly on there so they're not going to move around. So I'm really... Now I'm also damping all the other strings. So you're not hearing... Which is another problem. You got to make sure and hold down every other string that isn't working or isn't sounding so that you don't hear it. What's happening there is that and that. So actually any one of my fingers isn't moving any faster than, but coordinated together, get this fast, ridiculous trill. As you move your hand around, you can basically... So you move around on the scale. Basically, I'm just going. Moving along on the same scale. There are sometimes sometimes I'll hit a note, slide it up to the next one, and then pull it off. Basically, I'm always not always doing that. So basically that trill thing is one type of tapping, very specialized. You may never use it in anything. I mean, it's nice in some little... Use it in some little piece, or it doesn't necessarily have to be a heavy piece or a hard piece or a rocking piece in order to use it. Little nuanced thing. There's all kinds of different ways of tapping. You can go from string to string, different ways of moving around. Move up and down the neck if you want just a cascade of... I'll slide up to that note. Just try to remember the pattern that you have and what notes you're playing, and all of those are legal to hit with your hand and do in any kind of rhythmic sequence you can imagine. So basically, all those notes in there, I can hit, tap, pull off, move with the other hand. Grab any one of them. Any combination thereof once you're in that scale, moving around on any string to string. But the important thing to watch is just take a look, you'll be able to rewind this DVD and look at things over and over. Watch how my hands approach things. Keep in mind economy of motion, keep in mind strength, keep in mind timing, and keep in mind just how hard you have to actually play it to make it sound and for that voice to be heard. As a bass player, you're playing things really hard, so you have to do the tapping in a similar way to make it worthwhile. Again, it may just be one little tiny little piece of frosting on a very big cake that you do one little tapping thing.